Hello? Oh, hey, what's up? All right, yeah. Anyway, so I just did a quick. Well, there isn't much to observe. Never is there? When it comes to the narrative, so you got the mainstream media narrative, and then you have the alt tech, new tech narrative, and they're supposedly in opposition. But that's not controlled opposition or anything. No, it's totally real. Just like the Trump versus Kamala is totally real, right? The opposition of the Republicans versus the Democrats is just like the opposition of mainstream versus alt tech, new tech. It's totally real. They're both totally real. So put in your vote. Who do you vote for? Alt new tech or mainstream media? So I checked the pulse on the alt tech, new tech narrative, which is totally real. It's not controlled opposition, you guys. Just like Democrat versus Republican isn't controlled opposition. All this media opposition isn't controlled in fake and staged theater or anything. Not at all, you guys. Not even in the least at all. So I checked the real narrative on the alt tech, new tech, right? And it's nothing. Just like it never has been or ever will be. Just like the upcoming election in 2028 won't be. But who cares about that? We all want to focus on how Republican versus Democrat. That's what's fake and staged, not alt tech, new tech versus mainstream media. We don't want to focus on how that's staged. We just want to focus on how the election is staged theater. So keep upvoting BitChute, those upvotes. Just keep voting for BitChute. Anyways, whatever. So because alt tech, new tech is way better than mainstream media, like Trump is way better than Kamala, right? Like the Republican is way better than the Democrat. Alt tech, new tech is way better than mainstream media. So because alt tech, new tech is real, like Trump is real. Whereas mainstream media is fake, like Kamala is fake, right? Whatever, right? None of this matters. So anyways, I was checking the real news. The real deal, right? The real deal. And not much going on. Surprised? Are you surprised? So because there's not much going on the real narrative on the alt new tech platform, right? There's nothing going on. I guess you could call it decided. I don't know. I think it was more coercion that I clicked on Max Igan. And guess what Max Igan is talking about? The same thing that he's been talking about for, I don't know, like at least 2 or 3 years, like nonstop. The same thing. What, you ask? Oh, Palestine. Palestine and the Jews. So this video is going to be for my entertainment purposes only. You know, it's going to be for my entertainment purposes only. So, because any and everything I say could be wrong. You know, mainstream media and new alt tech media could be like, could be real opposition instead of controlled opposition. It could be real. So I could be wrong. That's why I always say do your own research. And come to your own conclusions, right? So because it appears that the only thing to, watch or listen to as it relates to real news as opposed to fake news, right, is Max Igan. So I watched Max Igan, and he's been saying the same fucking thing over and over and over and over for at least like 2 years. The same exact thing. It's all about Palestine and the Jews. So since it must be so important because the great Max Igan repeats the same thing over and over and over for years now. It must be important, right? I mean, especially like it's alt new tech media, which is the real narrative, as opposed to mainstream media, the fake narrative, right? So this must have relevance, this Palestine versus Israel discussion. So let's look at it. See, the problem with it is that it's a complete no-brainer. And so apparently I'm so bored that this is what I'm going to do for my own entertainment. Let's look at this thing. What is going on? I'm going to point out something that no Max Igan or Richie from Boston or any of these guys will point out, and it's the obvious truth. Okay, is what's the difference between Palestine and Israel? When you look at Palestine, what do you see? Poverty. Palestine is like this. They're just poor, especially in comparison to Israel. And I guarantee you that the poverty in Palestine is far worse than what you and I are being told. Guaranteed. So you might think, oh, well, Palestine is, in comparison to Israel, they're poor. But Palestine, they can't be like that poor. They probably got, video games and stuff or whatever. It can't be that there's like third world poverty in Palestine. It can't be that Palestine is like basically in a general way a third world country. Can't be. But yeah, when you look at Palestine, what do you see? Poor country. Arguably a third world country. Okay. So, and then when you look at Israel, well, Israel is one of the richest countries in the world. So if Israel is one of the richest countries in the world, and Palestine is arguably like a third world country, why would there be this big war? What kind of threat could Palestine possibly, pose? Palestine being arguably a third world country, what kind of threat could they possibly pose on Israel, one of the richest countries in the world? And what would Palestine possibly have that Israel would covet? Like, why? I mean, can a third world country really be that big of a threat to one of the top 3 richest countries in the world? Palestine, like a arguably third world country, could be so big of a threat to one of the richest countries in the world. Like, is this even... See, none of it makes sense. The thing about things that don't make sense is if something doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. So if something probably isn't true, why would the great and trustworthy and Crowhouse go on and on and on and on and on for years about something that isn't even true? Again, if something doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. So when you listen to Crowhouse, you have to assume, especially since he goes on and on and on and on, year after year, video after video, on and on about how justice for Palestine. You have to assume that Crowhouse is standing up for the underdog, right? Like the poor people. That the poor people are being attacked, like this country of third world poverty is being attacked by one of the richest countries in the world, right? So you would have to assume that Crowhouse is standing up for the poor, right? Yeah. I mean, he's been talking about Palestine and Israel for like every fucking video nonstop. Okay? So you have to just assume that he's standing up for the poverty-stricken Palestinians and the oppression of the poverty-stricken Palestinians by the rich ruling elite of Israel. So Crowhouse cares about the poor then, right? That just has to be assumed because he goes on and on and on, justice for Palestine, justice for Palestine. So therefore, it's everybody just assumes, well, Crowhouse cares about, the poor people. Because, like, again, when you look, just stand back and look at Palestine versus Israel. Well, Palestine is very poor in comparison to Israel. So it appears to be this age-old story of the rich oppressing the poor. Israel versus Palestine. The age-old story of the rich ruling elite oppressing the poor. I know how much everybody cringes whenever the Bible is brought up for some unknown reason. No, not sure why, but let's bring it like the story of the book, actually, of Exodus is the same thing as Israel versus Palestine. The story of Exodus, the Egyptians were extremely rich, living in fucking golden pyramids made out of gold. And were oppressing all the people that lived in these towering pyramids made of gold were oppressing and killing all the poor people and enslaving and killing and oppressing all the poor people. That's the story of the book of Exodus. So here we have, supposedly in real life, this is what Israel is doing to Palestine in real life. I mean, again, if you just extract all of this, all the numbers and the covers and the statistics backed by the rumors and the figures and and all this stuff, and you just strip it down to its essential basics. Like, what is this? You have Israel, a very rich, very wealthy country, and supposedly they are attacking and enslaving and killing this poor country called Palestine, driving them into homelessness and right? No, none of this is this is irrefutable fact, is what I'm saying. So therefore, anyone who would stand for Palestine is basically saying that they care about the poor and stuff like that, like Crowhouse. But see, the thing is, look at Crowhouse. Okay, Crowhouse. So Crowhouse doesn't live in Palestine. Crowhouse doesn't live in Israel. Crowhouse lives currently in Australia, I believe, or Austria or something. Well, let me ask a question. Do you think that there might be poverty and stuff like that, poverty and homelessness in the country that Crowhouse lives? No? You don't think? Yeah, right. So let's assume that there is poverty and homelessness and stuff like this where Crowhouse lives. Do you ever see Crowhouse talking about addressing the poverty and homelessness where he lives? No, it's always what's happening on the other side of the world. There's that country that's thousands of miles away, and Crowhouse cares so much about those poor people over there and how they're being attacked and oppressed and enslaved and murdered and stuff. Way over on the other side of the planet. But what's going on where Crowhouse lives in relation to that? Are there